Hello, I am Colby Lopez, a 20-year-old politician, business management student, and outgoing student government president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology. I will be serving in the student government this upcoming year, though. This is my first video in a very long time, and I will address that at the end of this video, and in the posts I make promoting this video. It's an election year, and early voting is happening right now. I wanted to go over the sample ballot for my area of West Virginia, and make endorsements for each section. This is in keeping with videos I made during the 2020 elections. Back then, I believe I was registered as a Democrat. I've since changed my registration to unaffiliated/independent. This is due to finding both major political parties too different from my political views and largely corrupt. That said, I believe civic involvement is vital to improving the world, even in a small way. So I will be voting on the Democratic primary ballot this year. Though in my area, I should note that I am not particularly enthusiastic for many of the candidates. I hope that by the general election, some of the races become more interesting. I say I am making endorsements, as not every decision will be for a candidate. It may be against a candidate, or some other variation than what is traditional. I choose not to vote in the Republican primary ballot, as I am a leftist on social and economic issues. The reason for not agreeing with any party, though, is due to having a moderate stance on fiscal issues and hoping to put more emphasis on agrarian and working class issues ignored or made worse by both major political parties. For the United States House of Representatives, District 1, I endorse leaving the ballot blank in the Democratic primary and voting against Mr. Lacey Watson in the general. This is due to him not correcting someone in 2020 who announced him as the Democratic nominee for this seat, despite the result not having been finalized. This is not something I find acceptable. He should have immediately clarified that the results weren't final and that he still had a chance to lose the nomination. Which, by the way, he did lose the nomination. For West Virginia State Senate District 10, I endorse Stephen Baldwin for re-election. While I am not enthusiastic about Senator Baldwin, he is a man who is working to improve the state in some ways. I feel that he doesn't use his power as minority leader as effectively as he should, but still. For House of Delegates District 51, I proudly endorse Miss Robin Kincaid Welch. She is clearly the largest underdog in this race, with little information available about her online. Though that is very West Virginia of her, as West Virginia is the hardest state to find information about anything regarding the state. The information I did find about Robin is extremely positive, and I believe she would be a wonderful delegate. I will vote for her. For the various party committees, state executive party committees, county executive, district executive committees, I'm lumping them together as some people are running for multiple levels of that or otherwise, and it's all roughly the same thing, just whether or not you're representing a district, a county, or the state party. Anyways, I endorse Selena Vickers, a great woman whom I agree with most of the time. She is instrumental in trying to reform the Democratic Party away from corruption that turns me away from them, nationwide, but also particularly here in West Virginia. Miss Robin Kincaid Welch is running for one of these committees, and for the reasons mentioned previously, I endorse her for that as well. There is Tim Vickers, who is, I believe he's the husband of Selena Vickers, but I am not. It's been a while since I've spoken with Selena, so I don't remember for sure. But I do know that they are most likely related, and if it is who I believe it to be, he is a man who has supported Selena through her campaigns and would be a great member of one of these committees. Margaret Ann Staggers, a well-known woman who has previously served in the House of Delegates. While I do not agree with her on as much as I do with Selena, she would still be valuable in the position. There is Sam Brown Petsonk, P-E-T-S-O-N-K. Don't really know how to pronounce that, but Sam that. A man who previously ran for statewide office under a platform I heavily agreed with. Next, there is Magistrate Division 4. I endorse voting against Matt Jeffries. This is because I know that I don't agree with Jeffries on various topics. His opponent I know little about, and that is an issue common in nonpartisan races, particularly local nonpartisan races. It's very difficult to know who I would support. I had to do a lot of research and found only slight information on Mr. Jeffries and none practically on his opponent. For Fayette County Circuit Clerk, I endorse voting blank unless you have more knowledge than I do about the race, because again, I've found I know who the candidates are in the race. I couldn't name them off the top of my head, of course, but I did look into them. I couldn't find much in the way of wanting to vote for one over the other. For Fayette County Commissioner, I endorse voting blank as the sole candidate in the Democratic primary is focusing too much on promoting tourism. While tourism is and will be key to West Virginia's economy, we must learn from our mistakes and realize the importance of a diversified economy. He also puts too much emphasis on being from Montgomery and the Valley District of the county. While that is a sound political strategy to target specific areas like this, it isn't something I'm very fond of politicians doing. And while I didn't plan on mentioning this, in the Republican primary, I would endorse voting against Lois Amos, or Amos, or however you pronounce her last name. She is a landlord in the Oak Hill area, possibly broader, and the way that she goes about that business, I do not agree with. I am trying to remain impartial in that endorsement against her, though do note I am not impartial in that. For county clerk, I'm pretty sure she's running unopposed, but I still endorse Michelle Hawley. I know her loosely from my time running for Oak Hill City Council back whenever I lived there. She seems like a genuine person with the correct non-political experience to properly do the job of the clerk. Board of Education. The Board of Education, I believe there are 3 seats up, and there are 3 people running. So, all 3 will get a seat, but I only endorse Coach Gary Ray. While I don't know the man, he is clearly well known in the area due to his long history in the education system. Like I mentioned, while it is possible to vote for all 3, neither of the others particularly inspired me to vote for them. For Conservation District Supervisor, I endorse voting blank. The sole candidate has very little information out there and has previously run as a Republican in multiple losing efforts. He shouldn't get elected simply for being the sole candidate if you wouldn't have voted for him otherwise. Anyways, that is the last thing on the primary ballot this year. So, that is how I plan to vote in this primary election and advise you to vote, especially if you tend to agree with me on political issues. As mentioned previously, this is my first video in quite a long time, which is something that I constantly find a bit disappointing. I want to maintain a consistent schedule for this YouTube channel, but even filming on my phone with little to no editing takes a lot of work. I hope to do more videos, but I don't promise it. This channel will of course be active as long as YouTube remains a website, as a tool to hold me accountable in my political and business careers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and follow me on social media at Lopez for Change, where I'm a lot more active. Have a great week.